Earth had fallen swiftly. What were once bustling cities filled with life and ambition had become hollow, desolate shells. Towering structures, once symbols of human achievement, now stood under the oppressive shadow of the alien overlords. The invaders, cold and calculating, moved through the streets with purpose, their presence an unmistakable reminder of humanity's defeat. Their ships blotted out the sky, and the ground trembled beneath their machines of war. They had come without warning, an advance race from beyond the stars, wielding technology far beyond anything humans had ever conceived. The first wave of resistance, brave but ill-prepared, had been shattered within weeks. Armies fell, and governments crumbled. Soon, what remained of humanity was enslaved, forced to toil under the command of their new masters. Hope became a relic, buried under the weight of alien rule. The alien commanders relished their victory. They ruled with an iron fist, but it was not enough to simply dominate. They needed to mock their vanquished foes. The old ways of human warfare, once so revered, were now subjects of scorn. Alien leaders would gather in their fortified chambers, laughing at the futility of human efforts. The concept of snipers, those lone warriors who had once turned the tide of countless battles with a single, well-placed shot, became a particular point of ridicule. Snipers? One alien commander sneered in a deep, guttural voice. Primitive! How could they have ever believed a single human could make a difference? They believed themselves untouchable. Their technology, force fields, energy shields, and cloaking devices, made them impervious to conventional human tactics. In their arrogance, they thought their reign would last forever. But while they laughed, the legend of the sniper began to stir in the shadows. His name was whispered among the enslaved, a ghost story told in hushed tones to keep the flame of rebellion alive. Some called him Deadeye, a relic from a past age, a sniper who had disappeared after the initial invasion. No one knew his real name, and fewer still believed he was alive. To the alien invaders, he was nothing more than a myth, a symbol of humanity's desperate hope. But those whispers persisted, and for good reason. Unbeknownst to the alien overlords, Deadeye had never stopped fighting. In the early days of the invasion, he had seen his comrades fall, one by one, their weapons useless against alien shields. But he did not die with them. Instead, he disappeared into the wilderness, waiting, watching, and learning. He was patient. Time meant nothing to him now. His survival was a calculated decision, driven by a single, unwavering purpose: to take back the world one shot at a time. His first strike came without warning. In a remote region where alien commanders had gathered to oversee a new mining operation, Deadeye waited. Hidden among the ruins of an old industrial complex, he observed his prey with cold, focused precision. The alien commander in charge of the operation had dismissed security concerns, confident that no human could penetrate their defenses. He had no idea that a sniper's patience could last hours, days even, until the perfect moment presented itself. And when that moment came, it was as if time itself had slowed. Deadeye took the shot. The bullet sailed silently through the air, cutting through the layers of alien technology meant to protect the commander. It struck its target with chilling accuracy, a single shot, perfectly aimed. The alien fell instantly, his mocking grin forever frozen in death. There were no alarms, no chaotic response from the alien soldiers below. They didn't even know their leader was dead until they found his lifeless body slumped over hours later. For the first time since the invasion, the aliens were caught off guard. It wasn't the loss of a single commander that troubled them. It was the implications of how it had happened. A human sniper, thought to be obsolete, had pierced their defenses. It was impossible, they reasoned. And yet, the evidence was undeniable. The mocking laughter that once filled their halls grew quiet as the realization sank in: they weren't untouchable. Word of the assassination spread quickly. To the humans, Deadeye's strike was more than just a victory. It was a symbol of defiance. The myth had become real. Deadeye had returned, and he wasn't finished. He would not fight alongside the resistance in the streets, or wage war in the open. He didn't need an army. He needed only his rifle, his skill, and his patience. And one by one, the alien commanders would fall. The alien commanders had dismissed the first strike as a fluke. Perhaps it was an internal malfunction, they thought. A random failure in their flawless technology. After all, what human could possibly breach their defenses? Yet beneath their arrogant exterior, there was a flicker of unease. In the days following the commander's assassination, whispers among the ranks of both aliens and humans grew louder. The legend of Deadeye, once a faint echo of humanity's past, had returned with sharp clarity. To the enslaved humans, it was a spark of rebellion. To the aliens, a haunting question that lingered over their every move. Still, the alien leaders dismissed the growing threat. Their technology was unmatched, and their tactical superiority would surely reveal the sniper's hiding place. As a show of force, they deployed increased patrols, more surveillance drones, and heat-sensing equipment, all calibrated to catch any human attempting to repeat such an audacious act. But Deadeye was no ordinary man. His second strike was not only deliberate, but calculated to send a message. On a distant outpost in what remained of the once thriving city of Shanghai, another alien commander, a strategic mind responsible for the crushing of several human resistance cells, oversaw the construction of a massive transport facility. He moved confidently, armored in alien shields, surrounded by elite soldiers, and covered by drones that circled like vultures over the ruins. To him, there was no fear of human intervention. He had heard of the assassination of his counterpart but thought little of it. Surely, no sniper could pierce this level of defense. From the shadows, Deadeye watched. His vantage point, hidden high among the remains of a once tall skyscraper, allowed him to survey the entire alien operation. He had been there for days, unseen, silent, waiting for the right moment. His patience was legendary, a relic from the days when such skills were still valued in human warfare. The alien drones scanned the area constantly, but Deadeye was no ordinary target. His blend of ancient sniper techniques and salvaged alien tech allowed him to evade even the most advanced detection systems. With his scope trained on the commander, Deadeye waited. There was no rush. He needed the perfect shot. He could feel the wind change, calculating every variable in his mind. The alien commander was issuing orders to his subordinates, unaware of the death that stalked him from afar. Deadeye exhaled slowly, his heartbeat steady. One more second, one more breath. And then, he pulled the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, faster than the eye could track, slipping past layers of alien shields, tech, and armor. It struck the commander dead center between his eyes. The alien fell before his soldiers even realized what had happened. Panic spread like wildfire as they rushed to secure their fallen leader. But by the time they sounded the alarms, Deadeye was already gone. This time, the aliens couldn't ignore it. A sniper, a human sniper, had killed another one of their own, breaching defenses they believed impenetrable. It was no accident, no glitch. It was skill, pure and simple. The mocking laughter that had once filled their chambers had been replaced with tense silence. In response, the alien high command escalated. They activated protocols designed to hunt and destroy any remaining human snipers. They increased patrols tenfold, deploying more drones, heat sensors, and shields. They began analyzing every aspect of Deadeye's methods, trying to find a pattern, a weakness they could exploit. But Deadeye had no pattern. His mind was a battlefield of chaos and order, a balance only he could control. Deadeye, meanwhile, continued his mission undeterred. He moved through the ruins like a ghost, leaving no trace of his existence save for the dead alien commanders left in his wake. His method was methodical, precise. Each shot sent a message, not just to the aliens, but to the enslaved humans who heard the stories. In every corner of the world, rumors of Deadeye's exploits spread. His second kill cemented his status as a symbol of hope, a phantom warrior who defied impossible odds. Resistance cells, long dormant, began to stir, emboldened by the knowledge that the aliens could bleed. The human spirit, once crushed under the weight of alien domination, began to rise again. The aliens, however, grew more desperate. Their paranoia deepened with every strike. They knew now that Deadeye was not just a threat, he was a challenge to their very existence on Earth. Fear crept into their ranks, and fear, for all its subtleties, is contagious. Commanders, once confident in their superiority, now traveled in armored convoys and surrounded themselves with layers of defenses, always looking over their shoulders, wondering if the next bullet had their name on it. Yet Deadeye was always 2 steps ahead. He had no need for a grand army or advanced weaponry. He was a man, patient and resolute, and he knew how to wait. And the longer he waited, the more terrified the aliens became. The alien high command had grown desperate. Deadeye's silent war had taken a devastating toll on their leadership. Every fallen commander sent shockwaves of fear through their ranks. In their arrogance, they had underestimated him. Now, they were forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. This lone sniper, a relic of an era they had thought irrelevant, was dismantling their regime one shot at a time. It was no longer about catching a sniper. It was about survival. At the heart of the alien regime, an elite general known only as Cthal took command. Cthal was a brilliant strategist, cold and calculating, known for his ruthlessness in subduing other conquered worlds. He had no patience for the games Deadeye had been playing. Unlike the other commanders, Cthal didn't view the human sniper with disdain. He recognized the threat for what it was, a master of the old ways, whose strength lay not in brute force but in patience, precision, and cunning. Cthal knew that Deadeye would not stop until the heart of their leadership had been struck. The general also understood that Deadeye's every move was deliberate, his kills purposeful. There was no pattern that could be easily exploited, no predictable targets. Deadeye was driven by something deeper, perhaps vengeance, perhaps duty. Whatever it was, Cthal respected it, even if he could not understand it. So he set a trap. The bait was himself. Cthal issued a public broadcast across the ruined cities of Earth, announcing his personal presence at a key alien installation, a fortress surrounded by cutting-edge defenses and elite soldiers. His goal was simple: lure Deadeye into one final confrontation. It was a risky gambit, but Cthal believed that if Deadeye were indeed the ghostly legend everyone whispered about, he would not be able to resist such a challenge. Deadeye watched the broadcast from the shadows, his rifle by his side. He knew what Cthal was doing. He wasn't a fool. The general wanted to draw him out, to end this hunt once and for all. And yet, Deadeye couldn't ignore the call. His mission was never about survival. It was about finishing what he started. He had already taken out the alien commanders one by one, but Cthal was the last piece of the puzzle. Without him, the alien hierarchy would collapse into chaos. The fortress was impenetrable by all conventional standards. Walls lined with energy barriers, soldiers armed with the finest alien weaponry, drones that scanned every inch of the surrounding terrain, and Cthal himself, shielded behind layers of protection. It was the kind of challenge that no human had ever conquered. But Deadeye wasn't just any human. He moved under the cover of darkness, slipping through the ruins of a nearby industrial zone. His familiarity with the terrain gave him the advantage. For days, he studied the fortress, scanning for weaknesses. Patience had always been his greatest ally, and he would need it more than ever. The clock was ticking, and Cthal's forces were prepared for him. He had no margin for error. On the 5th night, Deadeye found his moment. A slight gap in the patrol patterns, a subtle misalignment in the energy barrier's field. It was enough. From his position half a mile away, Deadeye calibrated his rifle. The distance was extreme, even for him. But he had made longer shots before. He adjusted for wind speed, atmospheric conditions, and the small, nearly imperceptible shimmer of Cthal's personal shield. Through his scope, he could see the general, seated in the heart of the fortress, surrounded by his elite guard. Cthal, confident in his defenses, sat with a composed expression, as though daring Deadeye to make his move. Deadeye exhaled, his breathing steady. In this moment, there was no war, no invasion, no oppression, only the shot. His fingers squeezed the trigger, and the bullet soared through the night air, cutting through the layers of defense with surgical precision. The shot found its mark. Cthal's expression shifted in an instant, from calm superiority to wide-eyed shock as the bullet pierced his shield and buried itself between his eyes. The alien general slumped forward, lifeless, his reign ended in a single breath. His guards, confused and panicked, scrambled to react, but it was too late. The sniper had vanished, his mission complete. The fortress fell into chaos, as the alien forces, leaderless and disoriented, struggled to regain control. Across the planet, the alien regime began to unravel. Without Clawless' iron grip, the High Command fractured, and resistance movements across Earth seized the opportunity. The humans, inspired by Deadeye's impossible victory, rose up in defiance. But Deadeye himself was never seen again. Some say he vanished into the wilderness, content with his final act of vengeance. Others believed he had sacrificed himself for the shot, knowing that this would be his last. His legacy, however, lived on. To the humans, Deadeye became a symbol not of violence, but of resilience, proof that no matter how advanced the enemy, no matter how overwhelming the odds, a single person could make a difference. His story would be told for generations, a reminder that in the darkest of times, even a ghost could change the course of history. And as the smoke cleared over the battlefield, the legend of Deadeye only grew stronger, whispered in the winds of a liberated Earth.